Yo, what's happening, people? It's the one back at it again with more Wuthering Waves content. If you saw a video I posted a couple of weeks ago, I actually summoned into like 6-star Chang Li. So I currently own a 6-star Chang Li. And I did this for a number of reasons. 2 reasons exactly. The first reason was because I fuck with Chang Li heavy, my favorite character in the entire game. And the second reason is I wanted to at least experiment at least once in Wuthering Waves and see, are sequences actually worth going for? You know, some people just instantly go no, right? But I actually wanted to test this out, so I made the investment and we got a 6 stars. So in this video, I'll give my overall review and what I think about 6-starring units in Wuthering Waves. If it's worth it, if it's not worth it, we'll talk about it. Let's get it. So for those of you who are new to gacha games, don't know what sequences are basically the dupe system. It's basically the dupe system in Wuthering Waves. It's not a new thing, it's in every single gacha game. Like it just incentivizes people to go for multiple copies. So instead of pulling a character once, you're gonna pull for that character 7 times to get them maxed out completely. So in some games it's necessary because some endgame content is gatekept by having dupes. But in Wuthering Waves, I experimented in depth with Chang Li in all the different game modes, tested her out and the improvements compared to when I had her as 0 at one stage. And honestly, in the main story, you don't notice any difference. There's no difference whatsoever. I could walk into the main story with 4 stars, it wouldn't make a difference, right? So it's more of an impact. You feel the impact of having a sequence 6 character more in the endgame content because that's the difficult content in the game, let's be honest. So what is the endgame content? Well, that's the Tower of Adversity, that's the Wuthering Waves, and that's Tactical Hologram. Those are the 3 most difficult stages in the game, right? Where you need a lot of skill and a lot of damage. So that's where you're gonna feel the impact of these sequences bring. So in terms of Tower of Adversity, it's 3 towers and you have to clear it or take out the enemy within a certain time frame. Now with Tower of Adversity, it's nice having the sequence 6 character, but the thing that sucks about it is that it's only for one team, right? It's only for one team. So that one team in that one tower is gonna do bits. It's gonna do amazing, right? But for the other 2 towers, you're gonna be suffering unless you have 2 other teams built. So if you don't have 3 teams built and you only have 1 team, where the sequence 6 character that you have is only in that one team, then you are gonna struggle. You're gonna clear that one tower, but the other 2 that you're not gonna do as great. And that's one of the big things, in my opinion, with getting a sequence 6 character, is that it's great having that team build, but in Wuthering Waves you need more than 1 team for the end game. For the end game where it's really important, they're like, nah, it's not just 1 team, it's 3 teams is what you really need, you know. So that's the thing with Tower of Adversity. You're gonna do great with your sequence 6 character in 1 tower, but the other 2, you're gonna feel the difficulty because all your investment went into getting 1 character sequence 6. Now for Wuthering Waves, it's slightly better having a sequence 6 character because in Wuthering Waves it only requires having 2 teams, right? So you can just run 2 teams and you're pretty good. However, you do fall into the same thing where Wuthering Waves isn't just a one team thing. You need 2 teams. So if you don't have multiple teams, you guys are seeing the same thing. If you don't have multiple teams built, then you are going to be missing out on tons of rewards because you won't be able to get the clears. You won't be able to get the clears if you don't have enough teams built. And the final thing is tactical holograms. Now with tactical holograms, tactical holograms, it's just one boss. They're incredibly difficult. But you only needs one team. You only need one team for these. Now with the tactical holograms, I feel like this is the best place that you're gonna see the sequences do their job. Like, you're gonna be doing insane damage. You're gonna be doing great with that sequence 6 character. As I said, it's only a one team thing, so you're gonna do great. You're gonna get all these rewards. So I would say sequence 6 is definitely worth it for the tactical holograms. It makes them super easy. But then again, this is another thing you have to bear in mind when it comes to getting a character sequence 6, is that it kind of makes, well, it doesn't just kind of, it makes the game completely easy. Like the tactical holograms, you know, like mobs or enemies in general, sequence 6 makes characters so powerful, so powerful. It's like it just makes everything so much more easier. And for people who want to enjoy the difficulty and want to truly have that skill expression in Wuthering Waves, I would recommend not getting a character sequence 6 for that reason. As with sequence 6, depending on the character that you sequence 6, because some characters sequence 6 is better than others, right? But depending on the character that you get sequence 6, it just makes the game so easy to the point that even if you misplay, you would still be able to get the clears very easy, even if you don't know all the basic game mechanics like parrying, dodging, countering, other type of good stuff, knowing the rotations and all that stuff. Even if you don't have that right with a sequence 6 character, you can't turn your brain off to a certain degree. So, but for most people, I know most people just want to enjoy the game, enjoy the combat, because the combat is the biggest aspect of Wuthering Waves, you know. So with all that being said, after we've spoken about all the different game modes and stuff, or all the different end game modes to be exact, is sequence 6 actually worth it? Now I will say it's definitely not worth it. In retrospect, it's not worth it getting sequence 6, because if you guys look at the end game modes I spoke about, 2 out of 3 requires more than one team, and with this, investing all your astrite, investing all your summons into chasing dupes or chasing sequences is really not worth it. I'll be real, it's really not worth it. That's why I always preach when I ever do you know, guides or stuff for Wuthering Waves. I always tell you guys, horizontal investment is the best way to play Wuthering Waves, because it's not a one team game. It's not a one team game where you can just build one team and you can play that one team until the end of the game. That's not the way it is. You can make one team to get through the early stages of the game, but once you get to mid game to end game, you're gonna need 3-4 teams built of different elements built. It's just the way it is. For like Tower of Adversity, you need 3 teams. Wuthering Waves, you need 2 teams. So having a sequence 6 character is going to hinder the overall growth of your account, right? It's going to hinder the overall growth of your account, especially if you're not a whale. Like bear in mind, guys, I spent a lot of money on this game, but if you are a free-to-play player, I would really recommend you don't sequence 6 characters, because you sequence 6ing characters is going to be detriment to you, because you won't be able to build up your other teams, where the endgame modes that give you your astrite resources, your premium currency, they rely on having multiple teams built. So that's why I always say, in the long run, focus on getting your team diversity, focus on getting the variety, focus on the different elemental teams, focus on getting that. Then once you have all your elemental coverage and all your teams built, then I'd say perhaps go into getting dupes. That's when I'd say you could go for dupes, once you have all your teams built. But if you don't have all your teams built and you're just sequencing 6 or getting one character sequence 6, then it's like, okay, but then what about the other 2 towers in Tower of Adversity? What about the other stage in Wuthering Waves? You know? And I feel like getting a character sequence 6 just to clear the tactical holograms ain't that worth it, in my opinion. So yeah, and getting character sequence 6, even if you pull the character early and you win the 50-50 every single time, it's still expensive, you know. So it's, yeah, so in short, it's not worth getting a character sequence 6. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on our sequences worth it in Wuthering Waves, because not many people actually get to the point where they sequence 6 characters. So hopefully this clears up everything. It's definitely not worth it in Wuthering Waves to sequence 6 characters, and like I spoken about with power creep, right? Power creep isn't the issue in Wuthering Waves, as you can clear with the day 1 units. Gian, your 4 stars, Encore. Like, you don't need to get character sequence 6, guys. So if you see me, other YouTubers, you know, people on Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, whatever it is, and they're flexing their sequence 6 character, then, you know, you don't have to feel FOMO about that. It's not a big deal. You know, you're better off with your sequence 0 characters, building up your roster, getting that team diversity. So hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Wuthering Waves and Gacha content on the channel. So until next time, take care and peace, guys.